I'll make room for two. You and I, Jesus. You and I, Jesus. You are all that matters. Listen, I'll put you in. 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 Before every situation. I'll put you in. Before every circumstance. I'll put you in. I'll put you. I'll put you in. 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 Nothing else matters. I'll put you in. Nothing else matters. I'll put you in. I'll put you, Jesus. I'll put you in. I'll put you in. I'll put you in. I'll put you in. Before I plan to put you in. I'll put you in. I'll put you in. Yes, I will, Lord. I'll put you in. I'll put you before. I'll put you in. Every other thing I do. I'll put you in. Every other day, my Lord. I'll put you in. I'll put you in. I'll put you in. Somebody, I'll put you in. 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 Put you in. I'll put you in. I'll put you in front of my melody. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. I'll make room for two. Just you and I, Jesus. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. Can you just tell him, everybody? I'll put you in. Tell him, in front. What happens when Jesus is in front? Everything will follow suit. I'll make room for two, Lord. You and I, you and I. Imagine a dinner with Jesus. You are all that matters. Use your imagination. I'll put you in front of my pain, Lord. You are all that matters. Just like Jesus. Before every step I take, you are all that matters. I'll make room for two. Just you and I, you and I, you and I, Jesus. Oh, oh, eh, oh, eh. You are all that matters. Oh, eh, oh, eh. You are all that matters. Ah. Oh, eh, you are all that matters. Oh, you are all that matters. All that matters is you, Lord. All that matters is Jesus. Nothing else can satisfy. Nothing else matters is Jesus. Nothing else satisfies. Nothing else satisfies. Something more than gold. I've got someone more than gold. Someone more than gold. I know someone more than gold. Join me, say someone. Someone more than gold. I've got someone more than gold. Someone more than gold. Someone more than gold. Yeah. I've got someone more than gold. Oh, I'll tell you how Jesus. I've got someone more than gold. Yeah, I'll tell you to the world. Jesus Jesus is. Do you believe it? Say someone, someone more than gold. I've got you. Woo! Someone more than gold. That's who I got.
Someone more than gold.
Hey.
All I got is Jesus. I got someone more than gold. I'm failing to the world. Jesus is Lord.
Oh, someone more.
Someone more than gold. I got someone more than gold.
Jesus.
Someone more than gold. I got someone more than
If
gold.
all I have,
All I have is Jesus.
all I have is Jesus.
More than
More
gold.
than gold.
Failing to the world.
I turn into the world. Say someone more than gold.
Someone more than gold. I got someone more than gold.
Jesus, you are more.
Someone more than gold. I got someone more than gold. All I got is Jesus. I got someone more than gold. I tell it to the world. Jesus is Lord.
Listen, someone more than gold. We have someone more than gold. Someone more than presidents. We have someone more than presidents. I tell it to the world. I tell it to everyone. I let the whole world know Jesus is Lord. Someone more than silver. I know someone more. Hey, someone more. I know someone more. Hey, all I have is Jesus. Someone more than gold. I'm telling to the world, Jesus. Just your voices, tell him. Everybody say. Sound like you believe it. Woo! Come on, declare it today. With all I have. Yes. Tell it. We will tell it to the world. Let's go, someone more.
Someone more than gold. I got someone more than gold.
Someone more than
Someone
gold.
more than gold.
That's who you are,
I got
Jesus.
someone more than gold.
Hey.
All I got
If all I have is Jesus,
more than
if
gold.
all I
Tell
have,
it to the
I
world.
tell it to
Jesus
the
is
world.
Lord.
Say someone more than
Someone
gold.
more than gold. I got someone more than gold.
Someone more.
Someone more than gold. I got someone more than gold.
Oh, all I have is Jesus. I got someone more than gold. I tell it to the world. Jesus is Lord. Say someone more.
Someone more than gold. I got someone more than gold. Someone more than gold. I got someone more than gold.
We say today,
All I have is Jesus. I've got someone more than gold.
I'll tell it to the world.
Tell it to the world. Jesus is more than
Say someone more than
someone
gold.
more than gold.
Yes,
I've got someone more than gold.
Jesus, you are all.
Someone more than gold.
You're worth more than
I've
10
got
sons to me,
someone
Lord.
more than gold.
Yeah.
All I got is Jesus.
You all
I've got
satisfied.
someone more than gold. Tell it to the world. Jesus is Lord.
Oh, someone more.
Someone more than gold. I've got someone more than gold.
Someone more than
Someone
gold.
more than
Oh,
gold.
Baba
I've
Shaka,
got someone more than gold.
Holy
All I
Ghost.
got is
Yeah, I've got someone.
more than gold.
I'll tell it to the
Tell
world.
it to the world.
Jesus
is Lord.
if all I have is Jesus. I've got someone.
More than gold.
I'll tell it to the
Tell
world.
it to the world. Jesus is Lord.
If all I
All I
have
have
is more than gold. I tell it to the world, Jesus is more than gold. If all I have is Jesus, I've got someone more. Yeah. Jesus is more. Can we all lift our voices to this God who is more than gold and just bless his name this morning? You proclaim that there is someone more than connections, the God of all kings, the God of all the earth. Just lift your voices and pour your hand out to the Lord. Yeah, you are more than silver, more than pearls, more than precious stones. You are Lord. Just lift your voices and bless his name.
Hello, welcome to our midweek conversation at FEM Foundation. What we are doing today is some part of our leadership team. We got together to process, discuss among ourselves, and then even with us, the COVID-19 pandemic, how we processed it from different dimensions. Of course, there are different ways of looking at things, and people don't process matters the same way. So, discussing with us today on the studio is Tony Ecclesioso. Tony is my brother, my friend. Tony is a creative artist. Tony is a life coach. Tony, welcome to the studio. Nice to be here. Nice to be here. I like that. Okay, now to my left is my sister and my friend, part of our leadership team, Anguli Anwasedo. Anguli is a counselor. Anguli is always laughing. I don't know whether it's because of her name. Her name is Anguli. Maybe that's why he's always laughing.
Thank you, Sunshine.
Anguli is doing so much just like Tony. She's a counselor, she's a soul caregiver, and she's a mother of 4 boys. 4 boys. So we'll be looking at how she processed this with the children. And then one of the youngest members of our team, of our leadership team, Daniel Idenuma. Daniel, good to meet you, Daniel.
Thank you so much for having
Leads
me.
our young adults church. So let's cut to the chase. Tone, how did you process this whole thing? The first time you heard it, what really happened?
I think it was in December. I was watching on TV, and I saw the way they were reporting about it, and the way they explained it, I was a little bit scared. I was worried because I felt, I hope this doesn't come over to our side, because I knew we didn't have those kind of the way to deal with it. And then when I finally heard that it had appeared here in Nigeria, I was worried about it. But after a while, I started checking myself to say, okay, fine, look, man, you're supposed to be someone who's supposed to be helping other people. And I started checking what scriptures were saying about it. So I adjusted my mind, and I started dealing with it from that perspective. So each day, I try and get myself back into the mindset that, okay, God has a plan and has a word that will help us to come out from any difficulty. So I chew those words, like I meditate on them, I think about them, and that's how I go with each day.
Am I right in understanding that chewing the word of God and meditating, it's a wonderful way of dealing with the fear and the emotional trauma of COVID-19?
Yeah, because it changes your perspective. It takes away fear and puts that belief that you will know how to pull through, and others people also know how to pull through if you share with them.
Changes your perspective. Yeah. Thank you so much. Anguli, so.
Okay, when I heard COVID-19 first appeared in Nigeria, I wasn't worried at first, but then I think as a mother, the children were sent home, they were asked they didn't do their exams, they sent a lot of curriculum assignments, I had to adjust and readjust. And then I think all of that started working on my psychology, because I had to take care of the children, I had to do their assignments, prepare a lot of things that, I didn't do naturally, Sometimes you just have a way of living
if not 80% of the work for the teachers to do. But now you're
are
in
the
the
teacher.
house, you have to put a routine for them instead of leaving them to watch cartoon and TV all day. So I had to do all of this. And at a point, it started telling on me. It started telling on my emotion. And then with all the news going around, this one is dead, it's entering Benin, it's entering, at a point, I started having, there's something that we call, it's like, when you focus on something too much, before you know what is happening, you start thinking or imagining that you have that thing. So when I sneeze, I say, it's like I now have the virus. And before then, I know I was warned by God, don't focus, because from my profession, I know that whatever you focus on enlarges. And being the kind of person I am, what I look at, after a while, it starts getting to me. So I was always on the news, wanting to know what was happening, wanting to know. So before then, I wasn't really scared. But by the time I am through with everything I'm doing in the day, helping the children, working with my husband, doing my own thing, counseling people who call and all of that, I think I wasn't having time to take care of myself. And then the other part of the time I use it to watch the news. So when I go back to bed, it all replays, and I'm like, am I sneezing? Am I having headache? Am I fatigued? So what I did after that, I decided, no, I have to slow down. I have to watch my emotional health, So first things first, I only looked for good news because I know that this too shall pass. Even if it's not about me being a Christian, the truth is we've heard about viruses and pandemic situations, and we know that they passed. So I said, okay, if I have to overcome this and come out a victor, then I need to do some things for myself. So I stopped focusing on every news, and I started focusing on the right news.
The right news.
The right news.
The right
Because,
news.
yes, in as much as we know that things are happening, there's also a lot of good news. People are recovering. We are having, even if they are saying that we know that ginger and all that doesn't work. We're not saying that it cures, but we know that it should boost our immune system. And then it helped me a lot because now I've stopped doing junk. I used to do a lot of junk, but now I've stopped doing junk. I've started taking a lot of garlic, ginger, all those things that are the
Homegrown.
right things. And then I started walking 15,000 steps a day.
She's my working partner.
So I think at the end of the day, I'm in a much better place to take care of me, and a much better place to take care of others.
I still have to ask you this question. How are you managing? I know that you have a lot of work that has to do with inner healing, counseling, and all of that. You are the ministry development director in Fem Foundation, and then you have those four. How did you manage these four boys during this time?
Okay, like
Four
I said,
energetic boys.
I had to put together a routine, something I actually learned from Pastor K when I got to our house. So I had to put a routine down. There's time for assignments, there's time to play, there's time to watch TV. It wasn't easy at first because children, anytime it comes to work, they always have a way of wanting to run away. But I had to do that. And it helped me a lot because when they are doing their own things, I get to do my own thing. Okay, so the house is not noisy throughout the day.
So you appreciate their teachers more now.
Oh my God, yes. I made a mental note to myself to get a good gift for my children's teachers. It's not just a one-time thing, I know, but you guys are great.
Thank you. All the teachers out there,
Yeah.
and then the medical people, the medical community who are at the front line of this, even the teachers, we now use the opportunity to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm going to ask Daniel, who is leading the young adults in Fem Foundation, how did you process this?
Okay, for me, when I first heard the news, it was a blend of different emotions. I think it started with anger, sincerely. Anger because I had gone out a day before to get some things. And then by the time I was going out the following day, within 24 hours, I had the people in my immediate community putting on face masks, gloves, sanitizers. And I told myself, has it got into this point? You know, and from anger, it now grew to what I'll call fear. Fear because of the people around me again, because for one, I'm in this WhatsApp group where they are close friends and then family members, and some of them are medical practitioners. And so there was a lot of information, new cases, deaths, not just in Nigeria, but all over the world, the spread. So there was fear, there was anger, there was anxiety, a bit of uncertainty, because we didn't now know where things were going. Prices of things were going up. And then I had people, those I lead, some of them are young entrepreneurs, some of them had to close down their businesses. Those who are students, you know, I'm seeing them one day, and then the next day, they say, oh, my family just called me to come back home. And that's like another state. So it was more of, where are we going with this? You know, we thought it was a joke. In fact, some of us didn't believe that it was actually in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
Talk less of Edo State. And then you are now hearing one case. Then now there are 4 cases. And then somebody is saying, oh, my dad says I should come home tomorrow. And I'm wondering, okay, it's like this thing is real. Oh. It's real. So where are we really going with this? But what really helped me to come out of all this was, like Tony was saying, beliefs. You know, I had to work on my beliefs. I lead people, so they are going to be waiting for my response. Now, if I'm going to have a good response, it means I must have worked on myself. So I had to ask the right questions. Okay, COVID-19 is here, but what next? Are we going to live in fear? Are we going to live in anxiety? Is there something God is doing behind the scenes? And what is he doing? And then what can I also do at this time to take advantage of this season? So I had to ask those questions. I had to find the right community, because my community on WhatsApp wasn't helping my emotional well-being at that time. In fact, I had one of my people that had to travel, who was updating me every day, you know, with the dailies. He had like 4 different dailies. I won't mention their name. He sends their headlines to me every day. And the headline is obviously COVID-19. Nobody is talking about recoveries or some progress happening. You know, so I had to shift that and then find a community. And thank God I had one around here that, you know, just helped my belief system, building my faith, and basically, and then in addition to my community, I think I also had to filter what I call news. I really wasn't much of a news person before this, but I had to filter it even more. And I'll say, okay, what is the good that is happening? You know, how many people are recovering? Is the thing increasing or is it on the decline? And then I began to focus on that and also spread those things out, because I'm leading a lot of people. Many of them are young people, and so that they don't pack up and say it's over. You know, some people said the world was coming to an end. And we had all kinds of things. So I had to start pushing all of these things out, not just to help myself, but also to bring hope to the people around me.
Thank you so much. For Angoli, it's listening to the right news and then putting down a routine and then also creating time for herself. And then for you, is the community that is around you and then hearing the right news.
Yes.
For Tony, it's about change of perspective. Listening to all of you reminds me of how it was for me. I think for me, it came at a time before it all became global. When I was hearing about it in Wuhan, somehow I said to myself, it's in China, it's with them. Okay, we could just pray for them that God will help them. I didn't think about the trauma of waking up every day and hearing consistently that they lost this so amount of people. There's a proverb in my place that said, when they are carrying another person's corpse, it's like wood. but when he comes home, so even when they are shooting out the figures and the numbers, I was just praying for them, maybe routine prayer, until he began to move towards Italy. And I have some family members in Italy. So when one of them called one day, I said, oh, that they have shut down our nation. I said, wow, wow. And then she calls and says, we have a community on WhatsApp. Say, can you all just pray for me? I'm having all the symptoms of COVID-19. I saw the way all of us rose up in prayer. And then I'm going to ask myself, is it that we are a little bit self-centered? That if it doesn't affect me directly, is not a problem yet until it begins to affect me directly. And then while we were in the midst of that whole pray for me, we started hearing about the Italian that came to Nigeria. And then we started saying, okay, it is in Lagos. Okay, I have some family members in Lagos. You know, somehow, it helped me to check the quality of my heart and how pure my heart is. Because the Bible says, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Is it because it wasn't affecting anybody I knew directly that I was maybe, I don't want to use the word trivializing, but it didn't bite home until he said there is one case in Edo State. And then so we're closing up all everybody stay at home. And then I began I wanted to read everything that has COVID, everything. And from fake news to right news, from right news to, and then reading all of that, somehow, psychology set in. I started feeling, oh, maybe my throat is dry. Oh, maybe I'm having cough. And even my daughter had flu at the time, not COVID-19. You know, when she sneezed, and as I said, and then we called our doctor. The doctor checked, said, it's just normal. And then when she coughs, everybody say, are you sure? Are you sure? So we called our doctor. Said, no, it's just. So it came to a point where nobody could sneeze effectively. And before, when they sneeze, you sympathize with the person. And then when they sneeze now, you see the person as an enemy. You know, all of that. After I told myself, no, I can't live like this. And then, coupled with the fact that before it came to Benin, I was having a program at Upper Sabomba part of our church. By the time I was done with the program, I was exhausted. I was, you know what comes to exhaustion? I said, oh my God, is this thing? I said, no, I can't live like this. I can't live in fear. Everybody were all afraid. And I said, no, if I'm not going to be afraid, I need to wrap the promises of God. I was listening to the guidelines that NCDC were pulling out, the guidelines of wash your hands, the guidelines and all those guidelines. I said, well, all these sanitation things were things that we have been told that we refuse to do. But then I said to myself, if they said there is no cure, there must be something we can do as a precautionary measures to make sure that we don't expose ourselves, to take ourselves from harm's way. So I also began to listen to one of my mentors, Dr. Abubakar, who brought a virologist and began to exegete, looking at it from the positive dimension. And then he began to talk about how to build up our immune system, how to make sure that we put in the right systems inside so that the inside can fight the outside. And that somehow settled it for me. It settled it for me. I'm not afraid with every other thing happening. The fear was uncertainty. Where are we going? If this thing, my friends overseas were saying, if this thing gets to Nigeria, Nigeria health system will not be able to manage it, all of that. But I didn't know. I didn't have that kind of fear. But what it helped me to do, for me as a person, is to check the quality of my heart. When it affected others, it didn't affect anybody. It didn't affect anybody as if they were nobodies. The moment it hit home, it hit Nigeria, I began now to begin to think about it. And it's an opportunity for us to tell everybody, it's time for us to check our hearts in this whole thing. Even in the things we do as a people, the things we do as a people, we must begin to say, it's not just when it's only bad when it has affected me. I'm talking at the national level, I'm talking at the leadership level, even I'm talking at the governance level, at political level, at all levels, at all the gates of society. We don't have to take things serious only when it has affected us, because when it's affecting the whole world, it's not a problem, but it affects me. So that's how it is for me. In trying to round up the discourse today, let's begin to look at it from here. Where are we going to? Now it has set in, the thing is here. And some people are saying it's going to take three months, some people are saying it's going to take to the end of the year, whatever it is. Where do we take all of this? I'm going to talk to you that take care of young adults before I go to the person that takes care of family and the person that takes care of church. Where do you think we should go with all of this now?
Okay. For me, I feel that one of the things we need to start looking at is how to invest in the future.
How?
And I feel that one of the things we can start doing is to go for knowledge, go for skill, go for proficiency in the things that are our normal daily life, or you can say profession. I'm saying this because I think our world is going to change after when this is over. I feel work as we know it will change. I feel even the dynamics of our relationship with one another will change as we know it. So we need to start looking at what are the things that we need to put in place in terms of our knowledge base, in terms of our experience base, expertise, and then let's start going for those things. To bring it home, the thing you are doing now, how can you make it better? How can you improve on what you're doing now? I'm saying this because I was talking to someone recently, and then he was saying that suddenly they've discovered that they don't need as much staff as they currently have, because, of course, in many places, the workplace has been restricted to a certain number of people.
Yeah.
And then they have discovered that the work is not suffering. Even with reduced people and reduced hours, they are still getting the job done. It means that except some miracle in terms of maybe an increase in demand for services, they are probably going to stick with that number. From a business point of view, it saves the organization money that they would otherwise spend maybe for remuneration and all that. It means that people must now start, especially young people, we need to start looking at the next 5-10 years of work will be determined by the investments we make in ourselves in the next 3 months. Because some of those jobs we think are out there are not out there anymore by the time this is over. And then secondly, we must now also begin to look at our beliefs. I believe this is the right time to spend with the Word of God, spend this time in prayer, in meditation, spend this time studying the Bible, basically. I think these are practical ways that we can invest going forward.
Am I right in understanding you're saying that you're talking about the future of work?
Yes.
I seem to agree with you, or I understand what you're saying. Are you indirectly saying that artificial intelligence might take over some of the things that where human beings are working now? Machines and robots and all of that.
Yes, there's the role of artificial intelligence,
Yes.
which will definitely come in.
Yes.
But then there's also, again, the part of people's performance levels.
Oh.
Now we know that people can give more than they have been given.
Yeah.
In other words, 15 people can now get the job of 30 people done at equal time or even at a faster time.
Okay.
So obviously, some companies will see the need to have 30 people on staff.
So some people are going to lose their jobs?
I don't want to predict that.
Okay.
But if from
If it
what we are,
comes to
if
that.
it comes to that,
Yeah.
some people, rather than use the word lose their jobs, I like to say that some people's jobs will change.
Oh.
And what will determine whether they can thrive in the new job is the investments they put in place now in terms of their knowledge base, in terms of their skill set, and in terms of the experience and expertise they're able to get in this time and in this season.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. In terms of their knowledge base,
Yes.
and knowledge without understanding means there's no application. I love the way you have put it. You are even taking it to the point where those of us who are at home, you might now begin to look at the future of work. Where is our world going in the next 5, 6, 7, 8? So there are some of the things we are doing today that might not be necessary again. So begin to look at the aspects of the beliefs that we have, and then the other dimension of the future of work. Thank you so much, Daniel. So, my dear counselor,
Okay, for me, I believe that this is the time where families need to invest in themselves. We need to x-ray the kind of relationships we have in families, and then we need to start building connections. You know, this isn't the time to look at who is to blame for anything. This is the time families, friends need to sit down together and begin to put up value systems. You need to know what your children are doing. You know, one of the people I work with, I go out for work with, she said that yesterday she was looking at around about after 12, she stumbled into something on Instagram where some men were saying they will give out money to any woman who can come out naked and do some kind of things.
and have
Now,
sex online.
and have sex on
I use sex toys.
Thank you. Now this was about after 12. Sometimes, and a lot of young girls actually came out and they were doing this. Now, some of these parents may not even know that their children are doing this. And then somebody might say, young girls who are prostitutes or that. But if you look at their Instagram pages, you discover that some of these ladies came from very good backgrounds. So this is the time where you invest in your children, invest in your spouses. It's not the time to lay hold of unforgiveness. This is time to let go of issues. This is a time that parents need to sit together and discuss. You know, part of the routine that I've tried to put in place is, okay, when will we have family time? You know, this is something that we probably may not have even thought about. But now we know that things are happening. We don't know what, like he said, we don't know what will happen tomorrow. So it's a time, the only thing that should be certain at the end of the day is, even if I don't know where my job is going tomorrow, even if I don't know what, I know that I have a community, I have my family. So these are things that we should invest in. So that's what I think.
I like the way you spoke about family time. As much as we are running out of time, it's important that we put a searchlight on what Anguli was trying to raise in the area of family. In family, there is a person you need to be, which is the vision of the family. Who do
That's
I need
true.
to become to do family time?
Yeah.
Who do I need to become to think about the future of work? Because you become, that's vision. And then we now begin to ask ourselves, what are we going to put in for us to become that person? And before we now start talking about the principles that this family will need to carry, before we speak about the strategies, I'm putting all of this while we're trying to round off. The COVID-19 has given families time to bond. However,
That's true.
if there has not been any relationship between you and the significant other, there have not been any relationship, and you don't have the wisdom to mend it, it means that the COVID-19 shutdown will be, your house will be like the lion's den. It won't be like Daniel in the den of the lion, or Meshach, Shadrach, Abednego inside the fire furnace. No, it won't be like. It will be like I don't know what to call it, because
Like a war front.
like a war front. Thank you so much. It will even look like you and your wife are at the front lines of COVID-19 war. Because yes, even the Pope was saying the other day, was talking about domestic violence.
Oh, yes.
The other day.
Yeah.
So while the families have, a lot of families have come together, my friend told me a story about some men who say, let me take a walk. They just get into the car and they're making a phone call so that it won't be within the ears of their wives.
Yeah.
All of this has to change. We can't use the few years that we have together as a family to kill ourselves and fight ourselves. And if you are not a healthy person, that's what I'm talking about, who you need to become. By the time COVID-19 is over, two things will blow up. Who did you become with this? What are you holding on to? Because if you're holding on to anything that is temporal, that is shaky, all of that will still shake.
Yeah.
The only thing you need to hold on to is God. And this is where we bring the broadcast to an end. We can't go further than this because of our time. Just in case you have been with us, it's important to understand that the only thing that can stand the test of time is your relationship with God. What makes you significant is not what you have achieved. It's not what you know. It's not who you are in connection with, because any of these dynamics can change. The only thing that can make you strong is your relationship with God. Because Paul said, in everything I am content. That content does not mean that, oh, God has solved all my problems, because of it I'm content. No. It means that even if all of this does not happen, I am content with the fact that Jesus is alive.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pray for you, just in case you would like to start a relationship with Jesus at this particular point in time. Lord, today I give you my life. I release my entire life to you. Lord, I ask you to be the Lord of my life and the Lord of my existence. We're just going to pray for everybody. So we'll just stand together and pray for everybody wherever you're watching us from. We're praying that you will fulfill your destiny. Yeah. We're praying that which is predetermined, what was in the foreknowledge of God, that was written down, that you will live out your full call. You will live out the true meaning of your dreams and not your nightmare. And at the same time, come against every sickness and every disease. And even those who have tested positive under the scourge of COVID-19, we break the scourge and we release you to destiny. We declare that this COVID will not see the end of you. You will see its end. After all, it came alone. It didn't come with you. So it's going to live without you. God bless you.
We're about to take our offerings. We'll start with our offering declaration. Declare with me. As we give our offering, we declare that Jesus' blood has paid for everything. Therefore, we have the life of God imparted into us. That life restores our bodies with every breath we breathe and every word we speak. The life of God is flowing in every cell in our bodies and bloodstream, restoring and transforming our health. Our immune system grows stronger every day. The Holy Spirit quickens our immune system with the life of God. The Holy Spirit permeates the life of God through our veins, sending health throughout our bodies. Our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit. We speak to our bodies to release the right chemicals. Our bodies are in perfect chemical balance. Our bodies will not be deceived by any virus, bacteria, or germ. Every cell in our body supports life and health. Jesus bore our sickness and carried our pain. Therefore, we give no place to sickness or pain in our lives, in our communities, and in our nation. We are a healthy people, therefore our nation is healthy. We constantly enjoy heaven's health system. As it is in heaven, so it is on earth.